Ribbit, 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 ribbit. So when it comes to frogs, there's many different kinds of frogs that do different things. But what really gets interesting with frogs is these tail ends, right? So we've all seen these kind of frogs with the long strands, and these are great. But also, there's frogs with like feathers on the back now. But my favorite frog is this OSP frog that comes as a blade. The blade is a great option, especially on these kind of smaller frogs, because not only will this blade generate flash, it kicks water behind it. And you can work this thing slowly, just reeling it slowly back towards you. And on a slow retrieve, bass will just come up and grab it. So these are the frogs we can throw, but what do we throw them on, right? And I think when it comes to frog fishing, it is really the one time where straight braid is necessary. It doesn't have to be a crazy high pound test like 50, 60. That's, some people do that. But I think more than the strength of your braid, you actually have to look at the strands of your braid. So you don't want to use something that's super slick, like a 10 or 12 strand braid. You actually want to go to the 4 strand braids. The reason for that is the 4 strand braid has a lot more friction. It's rougher. And because usually we're fishing frogs around heavy vegetation, if a bass eats this frog and takes it under, your braid, when it has 4 strands, will actually cut through that vegetation really easily and make it a lot easier to pull that fish in. For me personally, I prefer a medium heavy to a heavy rod that is a little shorter, just so you get a lot more of that power transferred directly into that frog. Now, how do we fish a frog? The obvious choices is around vegetation. So like if you have those cheese mats that have little holes in them, or lily pads, is kind of the ideal scenario for a frog. You cast it out there, and instead of just reeling it straight, you want to give your rod work just like a jerk bait almost, or like a topwater spook. And as that frog is coming back to you, if there's like holes of open water between the lily pads or in that cheese mat, once you get into those open holes, you want to stop that frog. The reason being is that it gives the bass a good look at that bait once it comes into the open clearing. But also, if a bass eats your frog, and they will, through the vegetation, it's taking your frog but also a mouthful of vegetation with it, which makes it a lot harder to set the hook. But if the bass gets a good look at open water and comes to eat it, it's not getting as much vegetation, it's just taking the frog. And if you're fishing from the bank, don't underestimate casting this frog as close to the bank as possible, right? So where that bank meets the water, you want that frog right nestled up there. And the reason why you want to cast these frogs really tight to hard structure like the bank or a reed wall or any kind of wall, like a man-made wall in your pond, also applies to other baits. But it's because bass are opportunistic feeders, right? They love any chance that there's a bait fish or something they want to eat pinned up against some hard structure like a wall. And they'll see this as an opportunity because this fish or this frog or whatever the bass thinks this thing is can't go through the wall or up the bank. It has to go left or right. And it gives the bass a really good opportunity to come and just crush it. So what are you waiting for? Get out there.